understand that earlier in the year, Tom Nelson, who is the city's economic development manager, came and actually gave you the presentation that I was going to give you today. So I won't give that presentation again. But I just wanted to talk to you a little about my journey with economic development and enter into a conversation with you. I'd like to hear from you about what you think about what we're doing, where we're going, where we're perhaps not on the mark, what your concerns are, how much you actually know about what we're doing. Because one of my concerns is that in the effort to get a strat plan in place and to get budget allocated and to get someone hired and to get attention to the process, that we perhaps have not communicated what we're doing as well as we can. And we do have challenges, as somebody pointed out, because at times we can only run so many stories for us. And there's a limited number of us, all members of the Economic Development Commission have fairly demanding jobs outside of that responsibilities. I really would like to hear from you about what's on your mind, what your thoughts are. Are you aware of this process? Do you have any questions? Do you have any comments? Brad?
The question that I would ask you, you talked about the matrix. I'll speak up.
Well, I talked about the metrics.
The metrics of measuring success and being able to get that out. And obviously, such things as Gazette Times, radio, Corvallistidbits, other types of organizations. How do you measure it? I mean, what we see is a proverbial rat hole that we're looking for some results from. And promoting those results might be a little tricky because you're talking to people about things they're not ready to talk about yet. How do you propose getting that information out to the community so they can see some results and respond to you in the way you wish?
Well, I think it's a challenge. I think it's one we're continuing to work on and develop. I'll just share with you some of the metrics that we know we want to look at. We want to look at employment statistics for the region. It turns out that there's a metropolitan statistical organization for Corvallis and Benton County that have an overlap. So we look at that. Where are we in terms of employment, not just gross employment, but private sector employment, and particularly manufacturing employment, because it has the highest average wage. And so if in this community you want to produce family wage jobs, you do have to kind of look at the various sectors because they are quite different. We are going to look at average wages. Average wages are a really important indicator of where you're going. Partially because, and I don't know how many of you know this, but if you look at the national statistics on average wages, historically, Oregon has kind of bopped around the line. One is the metric of average for the country. Oregon for some time was a little above that line and has now fallen to about 97% of the average, I think, on a statewide basis, and different counties are at different levels there. And that's something we ought to be concerned about, because it means that even if we have jobs, that the jobs aren't paying enough and don't have adequate benefits to support our families. So we're looking at those, we're looking at commercial property tax additions. One of the things that I didn't really fully understand about economic development until I started doing this work is in Benton County and in Corvallis, 35% of the jobs and a large amount of the land is actually in either nonprofit or not-for-profit hands. And so it doesn't generate property tax revenue for the county or the city. And property tax revenue is what drives all the things, the amenities that we care about: libraries, pool, senior center, funding for police and fire and parks. Things that make Corvallis an attractive place to live all come out of that. And so we've got to look at how we get additional property tax into the system. And then to look at 509J enrollment. So one of the things we can tell from looking at 509J enrollment is that we're not attracting enough families to the area. And there's a number of reasons for that. Affordable housing is certainly one of them. Jobs is another. And so they work in tandem, and you have to look at those things to be able to tell if getting anywhere. We also intend to look at, this is a little bit harder number to come by, but actual capital investment in angel and startup firms, so in stage B companies. And that comes from a variety of different places. But we do have some fabulous incubators here and accelerators like ONAMI and the MBI, which is the Material Breakthrough Institute, which help to incubate and grow companies. And they seek outside capital in order to do that. And when they are successful, that's a metric that we need to look at. And so, you know, one of Tom's tasks actually is to look at both the branding and communication effort and figure out, other than the paper, what do we have to communicate with people? I think it's going to involve some outreach. I think it's going to involve some conversations like this. And I think it's probably going to involve some town meetings of some